So I'm here with Danny Sullivan, the editor of Search Engine Land and general search marketing pioneer. We're happy to have you here. Thanks, first of all, for coming in to speak. I know that the Utah definitely showed up tonight to hear you speak. So I'd just love to start kind of understanding your view of the state of search, and what does that really mean for the next 2 years? What do search marketers really need to know in the next couple years to succeed?
I think one of the challenges is that you still can't say that it's all figured out. One of the things about search is that it's always been changing, and you've always been having to struggle to keep up with everything. And right when you think, well, it's all done and Google rules it all, and it's just about being found in Google, you're looking at stuff like Siri coming in and perhaps changing how people are actually to get to different kinds of search resources. The mobile habits are changing, certainly, in terms of how people are coming into things. And then you've seen this sort of explosion of the mixture of social and search elements together, so that suddenly some of the things that you knew about SEO that made sense, now it's like, I guess I have to have a Google Plus account, and over on Bing, I guess I better be doing stuff with Facebook. And so I would say the state of search is, in the next 2 years, probably as unsettled as it's been in the previous ones.
We still don't know.
Yeah.
Well, another question I wanted to ask, and you've written a lot about this lately, but there's an ongoing debate, there's an ongoing investigation, really, even into users' privacy. And my question for you is, where does the search marketer fit into that? What do you believe is the search marketer's role in protecting the end user's privacy?
Well, I think a lot of that actually relies back onto the search engines themselves, and then the controls that they provide. It's difficult for the search marketer because you can't really go into the user's privacy to any degree that the search engines won't allow. So, for example, last year we had Google suddenly restrict the amount of data that was flowing in from the SEO listing, so that you could no longer tell how people found your website, if they were logged into Google. The search marketer can't really do much about that. There are issues that I think that the search marketers need to look at, in particular in terms of retargeting. I think that it's one of the powerful things is that you can see that someone's come to your website, tell that they've come perhaps from a search, and then continue to show them those ads through retargeting networks across the web, which is really cool and very effective by a bunch of reports, but it can also be kind of creepy and freak people out. And so I think that search marketers may be wanting to look at ways that they can limit the frequency of the ads that they show, so that they're not causing people to feel like they're overwhelmed and then they think they need to opt out, because right now the opting out is pretty much opting out of everything.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I want to shift gears a little bit. You mentioned social a minute ago, and I would love to hear your perspective. Maybe it's a female question, but on Pinterest. And is it the next Facebook? And are men ever going to use it?
I don't get it. It's been phenomenal to watch the traffic that it's starting to drive and the amount of usage that people are getting. If you looked at the amount of buzz that say Google Plus got, and the attention that happened, here's Pinterest that's sort of come out of nowhere. I'm not saying it's sort of equal in that kind of nature, but it's really captured a lot of imagination that's out there. And I think that any search marketer certainly should be looking at it. We had a woman from Neiman Marcus who was on our panel that we did at SMX Social Media, and this is one we did in Arizona. And I did a keynote panel, I had a bunch of different search marketers there, and she was saying how she was using Pinterest as a way of putting out some of the images that they have from their blogs and attracting traffic and pulling that in, and wasn't actually doing Google Plus, right? And that this was converting better for them, so or that it certainly was pulling in that kind of interest. So I think there's still a question of, is it going to be flash in the pan? Is this going to be a fad? And then next year we'll be on to something else. But at the moment, I think it's well worth the time for people to look at and be experimenting with. And experimenting is probably the catchword, because I don't think anybody necessarily knows where it's going to go.
Right, and people with compelling images like Neiman Marcus is a prime example. Another question I had, of course, with SMX approaching next week, and you've done this for a long time. You've been to so many of these events. You've really managed so many of those. And I guess my question is, what are you truly excited about this year? What's going to happen next week that you personally think is really cool?
I think the social stuff is very, very interesting. I think that we have been kind of in this rut of, what do we do to help people understand that our sites are relevant? How do we build links? right? You know, oh, infographics, oh no, we're going to do this link bait with that link bait. And it's like I've been talking about the idea of social as the new link building and the social is the new way of building, that sort of thing. And it's a little more exciting, right? Because you can kind of enlist more people more easily to say effectively that they want to vote for your content if the content is good. And so how those social signals are continuing to get used and perhaps reward websites that have built up good brands or built up good quality, that's definitely what I'm watching a lot of.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And this question actually came in from another marketer in Texas. But the question is, do you believe that desktop search has the answer to Siri? I know that I see you tweet about Siri a lot. So we want to know if you think that desktop search kind of has that answer.
Well, I think that desktop search does what you need it to do. I think the thing about Siri, there's a couple different things going on with Siri. First of all, there's just the ability to be able to speak what you want to search for in general, which is something that Google also had as part of Google Voice options. And that makes a lot of sense because, you know, you don't have the time to be typing, you don't have the room to go out there, so it's applicable. Now, on Google, of course, you can actually speak your search on Google, right? On the desktop. There's a little microphone button there, and you can push the microphone button. And I don't get any sense of that sort of taken off because it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's the issue of, will Siri take off in the way of making your appointments and being your personal agent and doing all that sort of stuff? And potentially, I mean, we've talked about having these kinds of agents that are out there that will do stuff for us automatically for some time. I still tend to be a little more dubious about that, just sort of coming in, but you know, maybe it'll get there.
Okay, that's great. So I'll kind of wrap this up and let you get back to the event. But you know, I think you're in a very unique position in this industry, at the macro level, at the micro level, to kind of see the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And so, let's not talk best practices. What do you think that marketers are getting really wrong right now? Like, where are people just missing the boat?
Wow, where to begin?
It's a long list, right?
I think on the SEO front that perhaps some of the SEOs are missing the boat if they continue to focus on Google organic results and trying to see things that are not personalized, and I'm going to continue out to build links, or I'm going to buy links and do all that sort of stuff. I think that's sort of playing to, you know, I wanted to say 1999. I'm already dating myself. That's playing more out to 2009 than looking forward. On the paid marketing front, I think some of the things I mentioned on retargeting kind of are applicable to that. I think that it's not the mistake, I would say, but I think the thing that everybody really needs to pay attention to even more is the social aspect. I think occasionally you still get some search marketers who will go, oh, well, that's social, or I don't care about that, or that's a fad, or that's going to go away. And, you know, yes, there are definitely social networks that come in and then they go out, and it can be easy to get kind of blurred by them. But the major ones of Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, and some of the newer ones that are building up some legs, like a Foursquare or a Pinterest, I think those are things you need to pay attention to because they go into, you know, your search marketing efforts.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. Thank you so much for talking with me, and thanks for being here tonight. We're excited to have you in Utah, and we hope you get some good skiing.
Yeah.
Thanks.